welcome to the 2016 wash-up for the Giants. In just their fifth season, the Giants almost made it to the grand final. GWS would have to be happy with the year, despite the heartbreaking loss on the weekend, Matthew Lloyd.
No doubt, Damo. When you don't make finals one year and you've never played in any and you get to the top four, it's been a remarkable year. Aside from probably a lapse on Clay Smith at a few stoppages, they were in a grand final, so it's been a brilliant year for them.
Look, there's going to be some emotional heartache out of it, and it's going to be a long pre-season, I think, into 2017, but they can comfort themselves, can't they, with the fact that they stood up in the big game.
No doubt. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to not get there too early, and I think the experience will do wonders for these guys, these young players. They'll be my premiership favourite next year, no doubt about that. I think they can only get better. Yeah,
so many positives to emerge in 2016 at this footy club. I still reckon, though, it goes back to this man being crucial. Shane Mumford, he's got this weird and innate ability and love of hurting people, both verbally and we see here on Mitch Duncan initially, physically, Lordo. No one's tougher. He takes on the big names, again, verbally and physically. Rory Sloane wasn't safe on this occasion, but he's not safe. He just doesn't mind and care who he comes up against.
He's so unique, and I think some of the clubs down the bottom of the ladder don't have players like Shane Mumford to lead the way, and that's why they are where they are. You know, a club like Richmond would love someone like that to lead the way, which they don't have. For mine, Damo, the two Sydney wins against the Sydney Swans, to beat the big brother twice. In the first sellout game at Spotless Stadium, this was a remarkable win. Stevie J putting on a show. And then this big final, to do what they did, is nearly the performance of the final series, although as good as the Dogs have been. So they'll take a lot out of those two big wins.
Throughout the course of any season, even teams that make a prelim final, they have moments and they have low points. And for mine, it actually started for the Giants in a low point sense when Cam McCarthy, who had tried to get out of the club in trade period last year, didn't basically return to the Giants after the Christmas break. He sort of came and then went and wasn't seen again, and we now expect him to go to the Fremantle team, and they could have done with him at certain stages of the year.
Well, he's a good player, so let's hope he can get himself back on track wherever he plays next year. My low light, I don't usually delve into off-field issues, but just the Lockie Whitfield saga, Damo, for this to have happened so long ago and for it to come out on the eve of the finals and maybe have Whitfield suspended down the track, Gubby Allen suspended. So I don't think that would leave a great taste in the mouths of a lot of people.
He responded well in the weekend.
He had a great
final and again on the weekend. Time to mark the team out of 10, Lordo. And despite falling short of what they felt they were going to do, I'm prepared to still give them a 9. I don't think you could have thought at the start of the year they were going to start a preliminary final as a favourite. And I think it's a really good effort for them.
Yeah, it's a fair call. But I've given them an 8, Damo, just because they were 14 points up. And they looked like they were home to get in the grand final, so I've dropped them down a mark.
Yeah, fair point. Christmas bonus, we give each club, or members of each club, some extra money to spend over the break, Lotto. I'm giving the Giants a stash here to that man there, Zach Williams. I really liked how he emerged. He'd had some noises around him in previous years, came of age this year. A dynamic player, isn't he? Uses it pretty well. He will give you the opposition a chance, but that's the style in which he plays, and he does set up enough to certainly mitigate the bad ones.
If he played for a Melbourne club, he'd be an absolute star. We talk about him all the time, but I think people are starting to realise how good he is. He's like Joe Hannison from the Western Bulldogs, just a remarkable player. Mine's Stephen Caniglio from the GWS Giants. He's just, he would have been in my All-Australian team, to be honest, and again, I think because he's from the Giants, we don't talk about him like we would a player like Bontempelli here in Melbourne. So I just think that he runs all day. He can be a run-with player, or he can get 30 on the outside himself. So he's tough, hard, skillful, and a future captain of the Giants, I think.
Sure. The Giants, they need to actually make some salary cap space, Lordo, and they need to actually take 2 players off their list. They're going to lose other players. They've already lost players. And so for the chopping block as we go out of 2016, we've spoken about it for some time already, but Jack Steele will almost certainly leave the club, and I think it's St Kilda that's still got the front running on him. Will Hoskin-Elliott, again like Steele, has been talked about as a Collingwood potential recruit, and I expect that to happen as well. And even James Stewart probably will seek opportunities elsewhere. And Adam Tomlinson contracted to the Giants for 2017 and has expressed a public desire to stay, but other clubs have certainly been into him for some time already.
Yeah, it's interesting times, who they keep, who they don't, and I've thrown another one on the chopping block in that sense. Rory Lobb. Sometimes if you've got a player who doesn't want to be at your club, and wants to be home, do you let them go a year early rather than wait till they're out of contract?
So crucial, though, isn't it, to what happened and what could happen?
He's massive. He can be anything. He could be the best big man in the comp. So they'll drive a hard bargain if he goes to Fremantle or West Coast.
Yeah, both clubs are well and truly into him despite the contract for 217. We always try and have a look at a laughing moment at each club, and Stevie Johnson provided a few during the year. We missed the prelim final with suspension and actually missed it at the expense of that man who came in for him, Reece Palmer. But what's he doing here, Lordo?
Reece just needed to step back a bit. Got in the way of Stevie Johnson, but I love this look at the end of it. So they smash heads. He's got a serious head knock there. But he loves the goal more than anything. He didn't worry about the head knock. He's thinking, you've just cost me a goal. Look at the stare to Reece Palmer. What have you just done? It was very funny.
OK, they need to improve, obviously. When you lose a prelim final, you need to do something different. The way I look at it, though, Lordo, they just need to hold it together. Yeah. Don't get ahead of themselves. They've got potential to do that. But I actually think the loss, as you said off the top of the show, will actually work for them in that big picture. Yeah,
I think that's fair enough too. The only thing I just think is, with the success, they might hold on to players more. But once again, they'll lose more players. You've just named McCarthy, Marchbank, Steele, Hoskin, Elliott. Yeah. All players looking for opportunities, so they've got to make sure they can keep their core group together. OK, time now for you to tell us where you think they're going to finish in 2017.
Up
for me, Damo. It was a prelim this year.
There's only one way up. Yeah, there is. There's only one game left.
They are in a grand final next year.
You just lock them in.
I'll be shocked if they're not in it next year.
OK, I'm not as prepared to go that loftily by way of expectation. I'm saying that I'll stagnate, so I'm still saying prelim final at least, but I'm not going to lock them in just yet. But thanks, Lordo. And that's the wash-up for the GWS Giants in 2016.